Point, Chillcast MMA, and I'm talking about a fight that's going down February 8th, 2020. It's going to be at UFC 247, the John Jones vs. Dominic Reyes fight card. This is going to be the main card opener. It's going to be number 12 ranked light heavyweight Ilir Latifi. He's moving up in weight to take on number 5 heavyweight Derrick Lewis. Alright, so right off top, this fight is interesting to me for a lot of different reasons. The first that comes to mind is just, I can't believe Ilir Latifi is actually going to take this fight. It was just ridiculous when I first heard it. It's just like he's actually going to go in there and they're going to let him take on a guy in the top 5 at number 5 in Derrick Lewis. And it's just interesting because for Derrick Lewis, I'm surprised because just like the guy's coming off a win. And I understand that was after back-to-back losses to JDS and Daniel Cormier, but it's like that was stretched out over some time. And he's talked a lot over the past year or so about his back being fully healthy. So it just seemed like Derrick Lewis he's in that space where like Rosenstruck and Ngannou, like he's trying to, it seems like he's 1 or maybe 2 fights away, depending on what Stipe does. He's in that mix, or at least I consider him in that mix. I mean, the guy is in the top 5, but for Ilir Latifi, it's interesting for him because on the flip side of it, he's coming off of back-to-back losses. So I'm just like, I don't really understand. And it's like they have the same amount of losses in the UFC. Their wins are just completely separate, and they're separated by a weight class. So it's interesting that the UFC decided to go ahead and make this one. The first thing for me when it comes to the X's and O's that stands out when I'm looking at Ilir Latifi, I guess the first thing that sort of jumps out, or I feel like would be the easy thing to sort of try and conclude, would be that Ilir is going to be able to just wrap around Derrick Lewis in a bear hug situation and maybe get him up against the fence and land a lucky takedown. And it's like, usually for the smaller guy moving up, I guess you could say that it could be a smart strategy. You're not going to stay in the pocket. Maybe you're not going to stay at range because that's just going to help Derrick Lewis and his cardio. So maybe you push the pressure, doing things like that, tax the arms a little bit. So it seems like that's a smart thing. But then when you actually look at just some of his numbers, it's like, he's got an accuracy in the UFC of only 30%, and his career average per fight is a little under 2 at 1.85. So this idea that Ilir Latifi is just going to be able to do that, even if the fight does wear on a little bit, I just don't see it. And then on the flip side of it, it's like Derrick Lewis, even if he is in that position, it's not like the guy's a slouch when it comes to grappling situations. You know, it's like he gets taken down at ease by Daniel Cormier, and someone in the same fashion that Volkan Ozdemir did, and it's like, people just automatically assume, oh, these guys have terrible wrestling. It's like the same way with Volkan, someone with Derrick Lewis. It's like these guys, they show improvements after that. I don't know what it is about Daniel Cormier, but it's like after he fights guys, whenever they know that he's on the radar, it just seems like their wrestling IQ goes up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy for that one, but that's just what it feels like. But for Derrick Lewis, again, he sits at 22-7 overall. And he's had 18 UFC fights, so it's like he's been in this for a little while. And it's just interesting that he's someone that you hear him talk about the money, even though he is well paid. And I'm able to say that he's well paid because he's said that in the past. So I'm not just making that up or pulling that out of thin air. If he feels like he's well paid, then he must be. And it was around the Daniel Cormier fight at UFC 230 where he started to talk about wanting to fight for the title. He wasn't content just being an action fighter. And we've heard this storyline time and time again from guys. Once they get past that like 15 fight mark, if they make it that long, you start to hear their tune switch up a little bit. And it's like with Derrick Lewis, he's talked about it. And for him, if he wins this fight, and given the fact that you got guys like Curtis Blades out there who picked up a win over JDS, who is someone that you have a loss to, and given the fact that there are also guys like Ngannou and Rosenstruck, and they're going to tangle a little bit further down the line, it's just like, I don't know what you necessarily gain. Where does this put you? Because if you go out there and starch them in 30 seconds, sure, that'll get the highlight reel going, but ultimately, given the way things work out, I just don't know if that will really push your name that much forward. But again, he's someone that tends to reside in good money. I don't really care as long as I'm paid. He does say that as well, so maybe this is a little bit of that. But for Ilir Latifi, it's just interesting. One of the things that I'm thinking for him that's got to be a path to victory, and I don't necessarily see him being able to land the takedown, or if he does, I'm not saying that that's going to be a path to victory because I don't believe it will be. But that situation, going through that rhythm of maybe you try something on the outside, maybe you close that distance smartly and you don't eat a knee or something crazy, because Derrick Lewis, he is known to pick his feet up from now and again. And it would just be unfortunate for Ilir Latifi to have to go through that again, because his chin has been tested. And that's just another thing, because heading into this fight, his chin isn't that strong. We've seen him get put down before. We've seen him get dropped. And again, he's coming into this off of back-to-back losses. So you want to go against one of the heavier strikers at heavyweight. I don't understand it from that perspective, but I guess, again, I'm someone that tends to believe that the heavyweight division is a little bit strong. So maybe the fact that they're putting this fight together, maybe it's making me rethink that a little bit. Maybe it's not that strong if they're willing to just do this. Or maybe it's just me misreading the stock value of Ilir Latifi. It could be any of these things, but it's just, again, it's just interesting matchmaking for me. But again, for Ilir Latifi, like I was saying, just make Derrick Lewis go through that rhythm. I feel like a path to victory for him is going to be, you got to tax that gas tank. That's one of the things. And also, how you close distance is going to tell me a lot. Because if you're reckless and you get caught, even if you don't necessarily get put down, just having to go through that, this is one of those cases where you see guys get hurt, and you think Ali Akinta, you think Khabib, where these guys get hurt and maybe they can switch a gear and they turn it up a notch. This is one of those cases where, just given the strength differential or the knockout power, however you want to put it, if Derrick Lewis truly lays a bomb on Latifi, and if he can survive, I don't see a situation where he comes back from that in the second or third round. I think if he gets tagged and he truly closes distance on some reckless type time, trying to secure a takedown, and he gets clipped with an overhand, and especially if he's got to work to get back up with all that weight on him, even if he can do it, that's still just going to spell doom for the other 2 rounds. For Derrick Lewis, this just feels like his fight to lose. I don't really feel like I need to highlight his path to victory so much, because I feel like if he could just go out there and just replicate what you did against Blagoy Ivanov, not how it exactly played out, but just sort of that same mindset. I don't feel like Derrick Lewis, this isn't too difficult for the guy. I don't know how else to put it. And again, I'm not going to try to sell you guys with something I don't see. I don't feel like Derrick Lewis has to show some new wrinkle. He can go out there pretty much the same way he's been and get this one done. But for Ilir Latifi, I don't know necessarily how he gets it done, just given the fact of where he is right now. But one thing that I can say is he will not be able to get it done at all if he does not get into a rhythm early, get it going, and keep it going to where Derrick Lewis in the second and third round is tagged. So maybe you can land a takedown and then you can make something stick, maybe catch a submission or something like that, go for a TKO on the ground. But ultimately, I'm going to lean towards Derrick Lewis on this one. I don't feel like that's too outrageous. But as always, this is MMA. Crazy things have happened. But no, I'm sticking with Derrick Lewis on this one. You guys, let me know how I did. What do you think? And again, for these videos, let me go, and I'm done for the preview. So thanks, you guys, for watching and subscribing, liking, all that stuff. But let me know with these videos, what do you guys want to see? More interviews, more breakdowns, more different stuff? Are you guys tired of the breakdowns and you guys want to talk about some of the other stuff, some of the business stuff? Let me know. But again, thank you guys for watching. Just a little side note I wanted to bring up. And again, before I get out of here, UFC 247, it's going to be Jon Jones. He's taking on Dominic Reyes. That's going to be the headliner. This fight opening up the main card, and I've already talked about one of the other fights that's going to be on this one, Justin Tafa. He's taking on Juan Adams. But again, this fight is going to be Ilir Latifi. He's taking on Derrick Lewis. Ilir Latifi moving up in weight. He's currently ranked number 12 at light heavyweight. Derrick Lewis, he's coming off of a win over Blagoy Ivanov at UFC 244, and he sits at number 5 in the heavyweight division. But all right, that's it for this one. You can find me on Twitter at Nixon_speaks, and I'll see you guys later on in the week.